Imagine pouring your heart in every step, tracking your cycles, changing your lifestyle, praying for a miracle, only to face heartbreak after heartbreak. What if, just when you're ready to give up, everything changes? On this episode, we're asking, how do you find strength to keep going after years of infertility, miscarriages, and even losing a fallopian tube? And what is the secret to finally finding peace? And maybe, just maybe, a miracle. If you are searching for hope, healing, or just want one reason to keep believing, press play. Your story isn't over yet.
Welcome to Fertility and Wholeness Podcast. Are you tired of seeing that test be negative month after month? Will you ever stop having to take test after test? Are you scared of all the medical terminology, office visits, and misinformation you see at every turn on your infertility journey? If you answer yes to any of those, you're not alone. You are at the right place. I'm so happy you're here with us. My name is Arianna. I'm a fertility care practitioner and a wholeness coach with over a decade of experience on the field. I created this podcast because I know what it is to feel alone and lost while navigating fertility problems. And after helping hundreds of women, teaching them how to not protract their cycles, boost their fertility, and navigate their monthly emotional roller coaster and get pregnant naturally, I am on a mission to empower women to take charge of their fertility journey. In this podcast, you will find heartfelt conversations, education, tips on how to take care of and understand your fertility, emotional support, simple lifestyle changes to boost your fertility, nutrition, self-care routines, tips for handling stress and anxiety with ease. We have amazing, exciting expert interviews and guests, inspirational stories, and practical advice on preparing for pregnancy and joyful delivery. Are you ready to reclaim your health, your life, and become pregnant naturally? If so, grab your green juice and prenatal vitamins. This episode is just what the doctor ordered. Today, I'm joined by Arianna. Yes, another Arianna. She's not only my namesake, but also a former client who welcomed her little one 2 years ago. And to keep things clear, I am your host, Arianna, and our guest, Addy. I'm going to call her Addy for the sake of our conversation. Arianna, can you share with us a little bit about what is your family today and where your fertility journey began?
So my family today is almost complete. I say almost because we would hope to have another baby, hopefully soon. We went through a lot of years of infertility and ups and downs with miscarriages as well. It was a rough journey, I would say. But I'm at a point that I can honestly say I feel my heart has healed from that.
What first led you to seek support? Because you said there was years. Were all those years, what led you to, like, in your path to seek support or to seek the help that you needed to get where you're at?
So I got married very young. I was 19 when I got married. And we decided we were going to wait 6 months to have babies. And then when those 6 months were getting closer, that became a year and we were enjoying it. So we pushed it out a few more years. And when we got to about 5 years into our marriage, we were ready. We decided to start trying. We thought it was going to be a piece of cake. How everybody tells you, oh, you have to be, super careful because you get pregnant right away. I was thinking the first month, we were going to, be pregnant. Well, that didn't happen. It was negative. We tried another month, negative. That turned into months. It was almost a year into trying that we got a positive. We were beyond ourselves. We were super excited, super happy. We finally, got our positive. That day, I had already been buying clothes, baby clothes, because we knew we wanted to start a family. So I pulled one of the outfits, put it in a gift box, put a note for my husband, shared the news after dinner. We were so happy. We were beyond ourselves. He called his mom. We came over to my parents' house and told them. We went to my best friend's house, all in that same day that we found out. A few weeks later, I started spotting. So I went to the ER and they did some tests. And then they had me come back a few days later, run some more lab work. and I had a miscarriage. From then, it was a very dark time for me with my faith, with everything, because something so precious had been taken away from us that we had been wanting for so long. We then started trying again, but it didn't happen for, I want to say it was about 4 years before we got another positive. But this time we were a little more careful. We didn't tell anybody. We kept it to ourselves. We didn't want to share the news again. And we went to visit family up north. And on Saturday, I started feeling sick. I felt like I wanted to go to the bathroom and I couldn't. And then I started having pain in my back and lightheadedness. I thought it was maybe my sugar dropping. So I drank a whole Coke. That didn't help. They finally pretty much forced me to go to the ER. And my aunt and my husband technically almost had to help me carry me to the car because I couldn't really walk. So when my aunt drove to the ER, they took me to the ER. They welcomed me with a wheelchair. That's how bad I was. And they took me back. And after tests, they told me I had an ectopic pregnancy. So that's how I had to break the news to my aunt and my mom. My husband called my mom, let them know that I was in the hospital. I had to have an emergency surgery. One of my fallopian tubes had ruptured and I was bleeding internally. That's why I had that pain. So after that darker moments, my faith got even worse because why was he giving us another child and then taking it away from us, all of our hopes? We tried again. And this time we decided it was time to get help because it had already happened twice. I don't know how, but somehow I opened up to my mom because I was very private about those kinds of things. I opened up to my mom that we wanted to try, but we were scared. So somehow she got me the number for Dr. Stegan. And that's when our journey began. We called, made an appointment. And then part of the program was to get trained on Creighton model system. That's how I came to you, Arianna, which I think it has been a biggest blessing in our journey. We did the program. I had exploratory surgery and still nothing was happening. I was still not getting pregnant. I think it was almost to the year when Dr. Stehan called and said, well, nothing has been working. The next step is injections. With a heavy heart, my husband and I decided that was it. That was it. We had tried more things than a normal couple any couple that we knew had tried. And we decided to give up basically on that dream. So we went to a trip that we had planned to Vegas, and that trip was different. It was very different. Something was just peaceful. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed ourselves. We came to have peace with just being the two of us. And on our way back, the interesting thing is it was raining and I just felt like a cleansing. I don't know. It was just weird. And a few weeks later, I started having PMS symptoms, or that's what I thought. And I usually would take a pregnancy test, see the negative lines, and then I would get my period. Well, this time I took it for that reason and it was a positive. We were happy. We were scared. We had so many mixed emotions. I shared the news with my husband, with Arianna, with Dr. Stegan, and our baby's here. And I do have to say that in that process, Arianna not only helped me understand my body, how it works with the Creighton model system, but also heal my soul because I made my babies part of my daily life. And I think that's what really helped us heal because we kept them hidden for so long, and to finally give them a name and make them part of our family and give thanks daily for them and celebrating their birthdays or what would have been their birthdays, that has really healed our heart.
That fills my heart too, because I know I'm a big advocate of honoring those babies that are lost. And like you're saying, sometimes there's not an identity to them. And there is not like a relationship, right? A clear relationship like with our living children. And so it's easy to like even ourselves feel conflicted. Like, how do I honor this? How do I like move forward with this when I know they are my children and I love them and I miss them? But at the same time, like, I don't have those memories. I don't have that like way to integrate them and move forward. Like, not that we ever move forward with our loss, but how do we continue to live our lives honoring them too? So that has been a healing journey for me too. And that's something that I share with my clients when they share I had a miscarriage. And I feel like that's one of the things that a lot of women don't know how to deal with, and it's also part of the journey. Sadly, a lot of us have encountered those situations. But going a little bit back, you said that you had an ectopic. What did that mean? Like, a lot of the women that have an ectopic pregnancy, they remove one of the fallopian tubes. Was that your situation?
Yes, I lost one of my fallopian tubes. So from my understanding and from the paperwork that I've read from the doctor's notes, I have my two ovaries, but I only have one fallopian tube. So that for me also was painful to know. I thought it was going to be way more complicated to have a baby afterwards. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why we decided to seek help, because I mean, if having two fallopian tubes, was hard enough and we tried for so many years, I could only imagine it was going to be way tougher, with just one fallopian tube. Because from my understanding is, or what I thought was my understanding is, I had 50% chance, instead of having an opportunity every month, I now had an opportunity every other month. I'm not exactly how that works or if that's accurate, but that was my thought.
Yeah, I hear that a lot of, like, especially when I'm helping clients and they're like, oh, I lost a fallopian tube or one of my fallopian tubes are blocked, which can be also a situation. And I always go like, yeah, but it's possible, right? We only need but it does makes us feel like half of our chances or routes are not there too. So when you came to Dr. Segan, were there any particular strategies, tools, or something that for you stood out working with her?
So for me, I would have to say it was a little bit of everything, because I think everything played a big part. I do feel Dr. Stegan helped, you helped, but in my heart, I feel like my baby was a miracle baby, because they did blood work. They told me I was not pregnant at that last appointment, but doing my math from my last period, I was already pregnant. I just needed to surrender. I just needed to let go and let God control my life and not me wanting to control my life. But I want to say it was, so with Dr. Stegan, what I really liked, it was a lifestyle change. It was not just take this medicine and it's going to work. It was dig deep, get rid of your plastics, like how you've mentioned in your, other podcast. Get rid of your plastics, because those are, that's toxic for our bodies. So we got rid of our plastics. We got rid of our Teflon. We invested in stainless steel quality cooking because we use it all the time. We got rid of our plastics. We got rid of sugar, did the detox.
Do you want a quick win for your fertility journey? Download my free checklist, a simple, science-backed guide that you can use today to support your reproductive health. Small changes can add up to big results, and this checklist is designed to give you the instant boost of confidence and control. Grab yours and take the right next step for your body and your future.
But I think health-wise, that was part of it. But we were forced to learn to surrender and let go and trust his path for us. A lot of the times we want to take control and we want to control, I want to get pregnant this month and this year because of this. But the moment that we surrender and we let go, that's when the miracles happen. Like for me, that's how I feel. We had done all the work, all the prep, or all the mental work. This program not only helps you health wise, but with your faith, it also helps with our faith. It helps with knowing our body, and not only me learning my body, but making my husband, part of that journey together. All the journey is as a couple. It's just on me because I'm the problem, because we don't know who the problem is. We just assume that us miscarrying is our fault because we're the ones carrying the baby. So I think it's a lot more to the program than just science. It's faith and it's a village supporting us.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that because a lot of women feel lonely, isolated, and like you're saying, even it's hard to open up even to our parents, right? We know that they care so much, and even like to your aunt, right? You didn't disclose that was happening until you had to, right? So I'm so glad that you not only here sharing your journey, that it is very common to that isolate ourselves
feel lonely or really push people away in a way, protective mechanism. Can you talk a little bit more about the surrendering part? Because I know at the thick of it, you want to control and you're like, the clock is ticking, this is not working. And you literally went through like all the process, like, I'm not doing this anymore. And like you're saying, you were already pregnant, you're surrendering, right? And so
Yeah.
can you speak to that woman that is like at the thick of it and they're like, the clock is ticking, I'm doing everything, I'm overwhelmed, because you experience it. And I want you to really look back and see, this is what I would tell myself, because then now we're at the other side. Like, well, this is what I think is important to keep in mind at that time.
So I think I would tell myself then, and now that we're trying for another baby, that it's been a few months and we're still not seeing that positive. I'm giving this advice to myself. It's yes, that we think that the clock is ticking, but God, I mean, I know this is easier said than done, and a lot of people will say it, but God knows when the perfect time is. Like He knows when the perfect time to have our gift is. We had to go through the miscarriages. We had to go through the the trauma of an ectopic and an emergency surgery. But once we decided that was enough, we had done everything in our hands and it was time to let God guide us. If that's His will, He doesn't want us to have kids. At first, I had to lie through my teeth saying, I accept your will. I'm not going to lie. I had to lie to myself and say, it's your will. Whatever you want, let it be. But in my heart, I still wanted it. I still wanted the baby. I still wanted him to give us a baby. It wasn't until we talked and said, we have done everything. We have tried everything. It's stressing us out. It's not enjoyable anymore. We need to stop. We need to focus on our relationship. We have to focus on us too, because we're the ones here. And it wasn't until we did that something like a big weight just came off, because we weren't forcing it anymore. We were just going to enjoy ourselves. We said that we're going to enjoy ourselves. We're going to enjoy the day by day. We're going to enjoy our vacation. We're going to not think about the future. Just live today. Live one day at a time. And there's no really steps I can give or the magic pill or the magic word to say, this is how you surrender. I'm still struggling, but I would tell myself, enjoy the day, enjoy the moment, enjoy your life as a couple. Go to the movies, go to the park, go outdoors, go on a mini vacation. Just enjoy your relationship, because the two of you are here. You don't know what it's in store for tomorrow. You don't know what God has for you tomorrow, or maybe it's already on its way and we just don't know it yet.
All right. So we're going to change gears a little bit because after the positive pregnancy test comes pregnancy and delivery and motherhood. So how has your fertility journey shaped your experience of motherhood? And we're talking about pregnancy, birth, maybe can like go back and be like, this is how laws shape my pregnancy and how I do things.
I would say it definitely shapes the way I will compare but not compare pregnancies. But I will say my pregnancy, I did not go to any amusement parks. We did not go travel to visit family. I did not want to get on a car. We didn't even go an hour away from our house because I did not want to be on the road risking the baby. I was super cautious, almost gave up completely sweets. Even if I, wanted them, I would have it very seldomly. I really took care of my pregnancy. I did everything I could. Any little spotting I had, I would run to the ER. And then I would feel embarrassed because it was nothing. I went to the ER because I didn't feel him move. And as soon as we got to the hospital and they would put, the machine, they would hear him, they would find him. So then I was at ease. My pregnancy with my baby, it was like walking on eggshells. Like I enjoyed it, but didn't want to enjoy it a lot. I disconnected myself a lot from the pregnancy because I was afraid I was going to miscarry again and I was going to be so attached. So it was a very long, rough 9 months, to say the least. It was rough mentally, but at the same time, I enjoyed feeling him, inside. Every day was a milestone. Every day we would be grateful for another day. And we took that approach. We're living one day at a time. We're enjoying him today. Tomorrow we don't know. We're enjoying him today. Tomorrow we don't know, until we got to the 9 months. When the baby was born, thankfully everything was well. I was not able to deliver him naturally as I wanted to. I wanted to have a very natural birth, no epidural, no nothing, because I was irregular in my periods. They could never pinpoint an exact due date. So I was induced out they would thought it was like 39 weeks and a half. Well, they started inducing me on Monday. Nothing was happening. I stopped dilating at five, and then they broke my water. Still nothing was happening until they decided to do a C-section. Thankfully, it was not an emergency C-section. My husband was able to be there. I felt relief once I heard him cry, once they brought him to me, once I was able to feel him right next to me. But even then, you're never really without, that scared feeling. I was still scared that something would happen. Any little thing, I would be scared. He got jaundice. So that was another scare. We had to, take him to the hospital, spend the night. It was enjoyable, but at the same time, we were brand new parents at 30 and 40. So it's like, we felt like teenagers, and still now we feel like teenagers, not knowing what we're doing with our kid because, we haven't had kids before. But how we take it is we enjoy every day as much as we can. We second guess, or I'll talk for myself. I second guess myself a lot. I second guess my decisions with what I do, with what I show him on TV or no TV, or what I feed him, or because he's not eating, or because he coughed. So when he was inside the belly, I was worried about him. Now that he's out, I'm worried about him. We go to the park. I don't take my eyes off of him. So I have a feeling I won't stop worrying about him ever.
That is parenting 101 right there. So that's so real. But I feel like a lot of it is a response of we know the loss is real too. And so it is a little bit of both. Like I feel like when somebody experiences a loss, they know like it's real. It happened to me, right? So I'm so glad that you shared that, because a lot of women feel like once I get my baby, then all of this will be behind. And then so there are different shades as we move into it. Or even like when I hear women say, but if I get pregnant, then all of it will go away. And I'm like, well, And so I'm so glad that you're sharing this with us, because you have journeyed through it. Is there anything that you would say that you would have done different from beginning to end? Like, this is what I would have done different if I was 19 again and moving into marriage.
I tell my husband I would have gotten pregnant right away. We would have tried right away. We wouldn't have waited years to try, because I don't know if we had tried right away at 19, if things would have been easier, if I wouldn't have gone through miscarriages, if I wouldn't have struggled with infertility. In my head, I'm thinking, well, if I got married at 19 and tried right away, we would have had our kids right away. They would be grown by now. But then he always tells me, but we wouldn't know what we know. We wouldn't have learned the lessons that we had to learn that made our marriage stronger, which I give him that because he reminds me of that every day. Everything that we go through, it's a lesson that, even if it's a hard lesson, something that we had to learn to make us stronger. And we don't see it at the moment. It took me years and a lot of help. And a lot of the help came from you, Ariana, and it always comes from my husband as well. But every lesson, her hard-learned lesson that we've gone through has helped us, shaped us, and it continues to make our marriage stronger. I feel that, the what ifs, we can't go back and change time. But as my husband says, what if we had tried right away and we had kids, but, we were stressed out because of the kids and we wouldn't be together anymore? Then they would have, divorced parents. And now, we're more mature. We've gone through the losses. It helped us, stay more together. made us closer in our relationship. And now he has both parents with him. Older parents, almost grandparents, but we're here.
I feel like you guys are still young. You're still my younger sister. All right. So I know that you mentioned earlier that you are in the journey for the sibling. So looking forward, what are your hopes for your family and for others in the same path? I know we always pray that nobody goes through this. We always pray that we don't go through it that long. And the loss is not. What were your hopes right now for your family, or what do you hope to share with anybody as your final tips?
So I would definitely, we don't want to share. We pray, we hope that nobody goes through the losses that we went through. But I pray for all of us going or trying for another baby or going for your first baby to take it one day at a time, to enjoy the moment, live the today, live the now. I want to say I do want another baby, but also if it doesn't happen, I'm okay because I have my miracle baby. God gave me that gift of having him, of experiencing what motherhood is. If he blesses me with another one, our family will be complete. Whether it's a boy, whether it's a girl, we'll be complete. We'll be a family of four, and that will complete our family. But if it doesn't happen, I'm okay as well. I think we're at a point in our lives that we're grateful for having our kid. But at the same time, if we hadn't had our kid, we were also at that point back then. And it's just a matter of letting him guide us, accepting his will, because it's going to be his will, not what we want. And if it's meant to be, he's going to give it to us when we need it, when it's the best time for us. And we don't know when that time is. Only he does. Even if we think our clock is ticking, how I feel, he knows. And I mean, there's been cases, of people in their 40s, their 50s, that are still having kids. I mean, I feel like that time where people had kids young, I think it's now changed or transitioned to having kids later in life and you're enjoying them. But also I feel like if we hadn't had our kid, I think we would be at a point where we would be finding a way to enjoy ourselves. I mean, I would not trade anything in the world, but I just want to let those that are struggling right now with their first baby to just let it be, let it in his hands. Trust him. Trust him. He knows when the time is perfect for you.
Well, I know you mentioned faith. You mentioned your husband. You mentioned you were intentional about your treatment. You seek support. Obviously, you learned to track your cycles with us, and you're able to get the emotional support that you needed also through the team. Is there anything that you say out of the whole team? I know your husband has been a cornerstone for you. What would you say to husbands? Because a lot of women, I would say you are the exception of the rule. A lot of them feel like my husband doesn't get it. I feel like I'm alone in this. What would be some ways that you did or you felt like you would really facilitate that for your husband to be part of it? I know, like in my services, I want the husband in the sessions as much possible. But what do you feel like make him really be involved in the process?
So I think for me was opening up to him because a lot of the times we feel they don't care because they're not as emotional as we are. They grieve. If we've gone through loss or infertility, they react differently. They react thinking, with the cold head, as we say, not with the heart as we do. We take it more personal. We take it emotional because we think we're the problem. We think we as women have to carry the entire weight, and opening up to him. A lot of the times it was, I feel this, like I feel like you don't care. And he would say, of course I care, but I have to be the one that thinks with the head because you're thinking, with your heart. I need to be there and I need to be strong for you to pull you. And I think that's a lot of it, that if we both sit together and cry and think with our hearts, who's going to pull us up? That we need somebody to, pull us up. But I think communication is huge. You need to really be open about your feelings. And if you can trust your spouse with your feelings, with those raw feelings of hurt and guilt and whatever you're feeling, be open about it with them. You will learn so much because they more than likely are going through the same thing. They're just not showing it. And once you hear from them that they are also hurting, that they're also grieving, you feel you're not alone. you feel that they are there with you. They're going on that same journey with you. We're just coping with it differently.
Thank you so much. I have the privilege to meet your husband and most of my clients' husbands because they do come to my sessions. And so I wanted to highlight because some women do, not specifically my services, but sometimes I hear women feel like, I don't know how to share this with my husband. I don't know. And I feel like a lot of it is us also making the space for them to be part of it. But thank you so much, Arianna, for sharing your story with us today. Your openness and honesty gives us hope and encouragement for the journey. And to our listeners too, remember that every journey is unique. You heard today, Arianna, with pregnancy loss, ectopic pregnancies, difficulties, and even with like, I'm ready to give up and then now I'm pregnant. So I felt like that was one of the moments that I remember the most about working together, that, you know, we're always in communication. And she was like, I'm going to my trip. I'm doing this. I'm celebrating that I did it for a whole year. And I was just like, she's going to be pregnant. And then she messaged me and a few days later, and I was like, oh, I'm so happy. So I am always honored, like I said, to journey with my couples. I say my couples, to journey with the couples that I am blessed to serve. Being able to witness those miracle babies, it always enriched me. And I always say that my couples teach me more than what I can teach them. So again, thank you so much, Arianna, for being with us today. I hope our listeners find your journey encouraging to them. And again, we'll hope to have you back for part.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, we got a special treat for you. Join our free Facebook group where you can connect with other amazing women and share your thoughts. Join us by clicking in the link in the show notes. We can't wait to welcome you into our supportive community. And don't forget to come back for our next episode, where we'll be sharing even more inspiring stories, encouraging tips, educational insights, and practical strategies. Oh, and before you go, we have a tiny favor to ask. If you found today's episode uplifting and helpful, please leave us a review. It's like giving us a virtual hug, and it helps other amazing women like you find our show. Plus, it makes us smile from ear to ear. And hey, why stop there? Share the love. Tell your Betsy's, your mom, your sister, and even your favorite barista about our podcast. The more, the merrier.